Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla, let's go over the market, let's figure out what is happening and what we can do moving forward. So with all that being said and done, if you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice and I am not a financial advisor. And of course, my membership section is live. The link is down below if you're interested for my up-to-date thoughts, posts, updates, analysis on Tesla every single day that the market is open. Yeah, pretty much you get it every single day for just $3 a month, access to my intraday thoughts, posts, technical analysis, options flow, all that kind of stuff every single day. So again, if you're interested, definitely check it out. The link is down below. We'd be happy to have you. But with all that being said and done, let's just jump into it. Tesla closing the day. Let's go back to the daily chart here actually. Closing the day, unfortunately down about 1.4%, closing at 176.75 cents per share, which of course compared to the market is going to be obviously a bit of an underperformance on the day, but it kind of is what it is, right? It's just kind of how Tesla really likes to do things. If the market's green, Tesla's red, and vice versa. You kind of just get used to it at some point, while NVIDIA is just absolutely tearing afloat. Looks very similar to what Tesla looked like back all the way over here on this initial massive spike. So I'm interested to see how that plays out moving forward another 3 months from now. But moving back to Tesla specifically, let's figure out what this actually means, right? Don't forget, obviously, it is a short week, right? Today is, of course, the first day of the week in terms of trading, right? But it is a Tuesday. So keep that in mind in terms of, theta, options, decay, etc. But let's talk about it. So let's go to the actual 1 hour chart to start things off, right? 1 hour chart, this is where we start off. We had a massive gap down, right? And we had pretty much started the day off oversold, right? I know people like to meme about this. Or at least there's one guy that just keeps memeing about it. He's like, oversold, overbought. I mean, it works. What can I say? It works, right? But regardless, on the 1 hour chart, we opened up oversold right towards the second part of the oversold conditions, which is getting into like pretty damn extreme oversold territory around 173, like low 173s. And then we got a beautiful bounce from it, put up a hammer candle on the 1 hour chart, and then got a nice little rally, reverted back to the mean on the 1 hour chart. And we're pretty much closing right around that general area, pretty much right in the neutral spot. We're not really overbought or oversold now on the 1 hour chart, even the 4 hour chart, even the daily chart. We're pretty much right dead smack in the middle, right? So in terms of being overbought on the daily chart, it would be all the way up in the high 180s, and oversold territories will put us back into the mid to low 160s is where that, more extreme level of, again, being overbought or oversold on the daily chart would be. So that's the way I look at it there. But let's talk about what this means, right? Like, where can Tesla go after this? So the way I look at it is, it's honestly pretty simple, right? There's just main levels I'm looking at, right? So let's go ahead and remove this for now. So the first and foremost, in terms of the bullish case, right? What does Tesla need to do to move up higher, right? What can Tesla finally do to get out of this? Excuse me. I ate like a protein bar in my throat. What can Tesla do to get out of this like downtrend, if you will? That is still technically in on two levels, right? We have this kind of short to medium term downtrend with this green line, and then we of course have that ultra massive downtrend that we've been in on the weekly chart for quite some time now, which is this obvious massive red line on the top. Well, let's talk about the shorter time frame one, right? This green line right here. What can we do to get out of here, right? Well, obviously, break out of it, right? How do we break out of it? What's the level to break out of it? Well, if it happens anytime this week, really anything above like honestly, to make it really simple, I would say like 183. Excuse me. About 183 is probably the level you want to look to breach for Tesla sometime this week to really get this downtrend over with, to really potentially start that uptrend. If that were to happen, if we were to breach 182, 183, something like that, right? The next level I'll be looking for is not too far above us, which is 185 roughly, which is where we got rejected many times with these candles over here on the left, right? On, what is this, early May, right? Pretty much roughly where this candle got rejected as well, that 185-ish level. Breaking above that will take us to the high 190s, right? So about, mid to high 190s. Which is roughly where this candle up here got rejected at. And then of course above that, which really will be my ultimate target, because the way I look at it is, even if we break out, I don't think it's just, I don't think we'll just go straight up like this, right? I think, for instance, we'll do something like this, come back down and then go up, right? It's always in zigzags, or at least often, unless you're trading NVIDIA, which is just pretty much straight up. But usually, more often than not, it's in like, zigzags. Essentially, you go up a bit, then you go down a bit, then you go up a bit. But the idea is hopefully you go up more than you go down. So ultimately it results in a net increase, in terms of the, the bullish case, the upwards, right? The value of the stock, you know what I mean? Anyway, if we do break this green trend line, if we do break above 193-ish level, regardless of the zigzags, I think ultimately I'd be surprised if we do not see, at the very least, this 198 region to about 205 region. This would be my main price target all the way up here, right? So again, if we break around above this level, I think ultimately we'll come up to this general level with obviously some zigzags in between, but ultimately that will be my main price target, right? That'll be my first main price target. And then we'll see how we react. I'd expect a rejection, honestly, from this level, or about 205 to 200. then I'd probably expect like a more, severe rejection, probably come back down to somewhere around these levels, right? All the way back like this, and then ultimately make our way up to about that 220s, maybe even 230s, but probably like 220s-ish level range as well. That's kind of my bull case scenario, right? My bear case scenario, it would be pretty simple, really. If we break pretty much any of the lows of the past 3 days, right? So today, Friday, Thursday, right? Which is pretty much about 173. If we break 173, let me go ahead and zoom out over here. This would pretty much break these lows and we will start creating a fresh downtrend on the very, very short term time frame, right? Would also lose that point of control and volume profile, which you can see, is spiking right here. And that's exactly where we found that bounce on the last 3 days, of course, today included. So if we lose about that 173-ish level, I'd expect us to come back down to about the 170 to 168-ish level, which is where we found the support all the way over here around the 10th of May. Right? And if we lose that, then I expect us to come down to about the 163 to 160 level. Those are the main levels to the downside, obviously level by level, right? Again, you have to remember the way these things work is it's pretty simple. It's essentially supply and demand, support, resistance, right? Roughly the same idea where, for instance, let's say we're doing the bearish case, right? Let's say we do come down to this level. Let's say we do break this 173 level and we do come down to about that 170 to 168 level, right? Well, we come down here and then we pretty much test this area, right? For demand, for support, right? Is there enough support and demand in this area to constitute potentially a stronger bounce? If yes, so great, we bounce. Pretty simple. If not, well, okay, now let's go to the next major level that, has before proven to have, a lot of support and buyers and whatnot like that, right? Come down here, okay, maybe now let's try this area. Does this area have enough, a demand and support to constitute a strong balance and essentially overwhelm the sellers, which, obviously the sellers will be in control if we're obviously falling, to overwhelm the sellers and essentially rotate that backwards, or the other way rather. So, that's kind of how it just, in a very simple term, it works, right? You just keep testing the previous levels and previous levels and previous levels until one side decides to flip over back to the other side. Same idea to the upside. Keep going to the upside. The buyers are dominating. Will the sellers really step in and over dominate essentially the buyers? No? Cool. Let's keep going higher until obviously the tables turn. All right. And that's just kind of how it works, right? That's plain and simple. And those are the main levels I'm looking at. Now, in terms of the MACD, right, we did have a nice little, we actually had a bearish crossover on the daily, but it did barely survive because we did push up towards the rest of the day, close up a little bit higher, putting up a bit of a doji candle. So showing some indecision. Now, the one thing that's a little concerning to me, and this is what I will say, and this is why I'm maybe slightly leaning bearish. I'm pretty neutral here, to be completely honest, but maybe slightly leaning bearish, or maybe a better way to say it is cautiously optimistic to the bullish side. And the reason I say that is because, well, two reasons. One, we're still below this green trend line. Like I said, I want to see that 182, 183-ish level break, number one. Number two, even though we did get a nice bounce up, even though we did set up, a pretty okay looking candle today, right? The buyers absolutely stepped in, right? We still lost the levels from Friday and Thursday. Even though we did bounce from it, we still went below those levels, which shows a sign of weakness. Because don't forget, Friday printed an inside day candle relative to the Thursday candle, right? Usually the way these work is if you pretty much break to the south side of an inside day candle, which we did today, well, that most likely means that there's weakness, and then you're most likely going to continue heading downwards. Now, obviously, it's not perfect. It's not, it's not accurate every single time, 100% of the time. Nothing ever is. But, usually it shows just a sign of weakness. That the time that the stock is, it's having a little bit of problems, having a little bit of momentum problem to the upside at least, right? And because we did break that level today, and we also broke even Thursday's level all the way over here, that to me shows some sign of weakness. So until we either just continue showing support here or on the brighter side, really just break above 182, 183, I'm cautiously optimistic. And that's the way I'm personally looking at it right now moving forward, which is why I'm, again, not necessarily bearish, but not necessarily bullish. I'm just waiting for one of these levels to give and one of these levels to really show us which way we're going to go next, because I really believe if we break 183, we're most likely going to 205. And if we do break this kind of 173 level, at the very least, we're seeing 168 to 170, if not all the way down to 163 to 160. It's just, there's no reason to guess. I'm not guessing here. There's no reason. I'm not going to tell you which one is going to happen for sure, because nobody knows. Doesn't matter what anyone says, nobody knows. You just wait for the levels to solidify themselves and let you know the direction. And that's just really how it works sometimes. Sometimes it requires patience. But for someone that sells options, I like this kind of, not really doing too much action right now. I like that because it's good for my sold options, right? It's good I like when Tesla does a bit of a volatile move. I sell options and then it just starts doing nothing. It just fizzles out. That's what I like to see. That's perfect for me. Obviously, just my opinion. Now, that's the main way I'm looking at it. Obviously, the weekly candle, you know, there's still, of course, a few more days to go in the week, naturally, but, you know, still have a bullish crossover. RSI still looks neutral. Stochastic is starting to kind of curl here, starting to lose a little bit of momentum. So there are some signs that are telling me that maybe the momentum is dying out a little bit. The daily stochastic did cross slightly bearish here as well. So it does feel like the momentum is slightly dying out, right? I wouldn't say for sure. Like I said, there's, you know, just wait for those levels to tell us for sure. But, you know, very, very, very low volume today on, I mean, it is technically a red day, even though it's a white candle, but it's a pretty neutral day. So there's just not enough information to really garner for sure. Like, are we going to 200 next or are we going to 160 next? Not enough information. It's just that simple sometimes, right? It is what it is. And in my opinion, this is one of those situations that simply just, well, requires some patience, right? Options flow very slow today as well, surprisingly. Some puts came in towards the end of the day here, some calls throughout the day as well. Nothing really stood out to me, to be completely honest, that I would really be worth pointing out. I mean, we had a nice little sweep of calls that came in here for June 21st, right? We had about $700,000 of calls here. So I guess there's that. But the one thing I do really want to mention, I did mention this sometime last week, but I want to reiterate it one more time, is so seasonality wise, we're entering one of Tesla's best, if not the best season for Tesla, June, right? And more specifically from the 24th of May all the way even to actually the 4th of August, apparently, right? Based on this post by Seasonality AI, right? Pretty much they say if you buy 24th of May and you sell August the 4th, you're up, I don't know how many times, I don't know where it says, but more often than not here. I think it's winning trades 100%. I mean, it seems like almost every time. I'll have to take a closer look at this, but the point I'm trying to make here is the fact that we're entering pretty much the best seasonality chart or time for Tesla chart and stock to, you know, rise up, if you will, right? Which is good. Now, but there's a massive caveat here. The massive caveat is this little addition he did right here. However, the seasonal view of election years, which we're obviously in, somewhat disrupts the beautiful seasonal trend. The election year we are currently in is the worst year for this seasonal pattern, but it still has a positive outcome. So in other words, you know, even if you bought on essentially Friday and you sell on, what is it, August 8th or whatever, you're still going to be up. It's just a lot less than usual, and there's a lot more volatile. As you can see, you know, we had a little spike towards the early of June, then we have a massive sell-off towards the end of June, and then we have a massive rally into July, and then a massive sell-off into pretty much leading into August. So it's much more volatile as opposed to, for instance, this one up here, where just a very steady increase overall. So keep that in mind, take that as you will, but, you know, just something to mentally prepare for yourself, you know, just in case. Potentially entering a bit of a volatile period for Tesla, which makes sense, especially with that damn CEO compensation vote coming in, like June 13th or something like that. So anyway, that's pretty much the main thing I got for you guys today. Again, if you enjoy this kind of information, this kind of updates, that's pretty much what I do to my members, but like live as the stock is trading, right? As I see it, essentially real-time information. So definitely check it out if you're interested for just $3 a month. But thank you so much for watching. And as usual, I'll see you for the next one. Peace.